If a Palestinian commits blows up a bus, is that justified?
You can't debate Zionists in good faith. You just can't. You have to debate. You have to play their game, because they play the technically game. They'll take whatever definition that you say it is, even if it's the official definition. He'll take it and he'll say that's not really what it is. It's technically this. And Israel isn't doing this. Israel's doing this. How's it going, everyone? Today we are reacting to a video that Jubilee put out that is one Israeli versus 20 pro-Palestinians. This is just the first segment of that video. If you want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe and let me know if you want to see more. This claim is that Israel isn't committing a genocide or apartheid, which is a bit funny, but it is very heavily biased towards it. So I'm not going to yap any further. If you want to see more of this video, let me know in the comments below. But for now, enjoy the video.
It's been more than 2 years since October 7th, when Hamas attacked Israel, killing over 1,200 innocent people and taking hundreds of hostages. The war that followed has devastated Gaza, killing over 70,000 Palestinians.
Who killed the 70,000 Palestinians? I love how this is where I'm talking about the bias. It's already been shown by this host, where he talked about how Hamas did this and they killed, or they killed 1,200 people and they took hostages. And then they say the war that followed killed 70,000 Palestinians. Who killed the 70,000 Palestinians?
Peace now rests on a ceasefire that many believe will not hold. So where do we go from here?
I'm Rudy Rochman. I'm a Jewish and Israel rights activist, and today I'm surrounded by 20 pro-Palestinian activists who completely disagree with me. My first surrounded claim is that Israel is not committing apartheid or genocide.
How are we 2.5 years into this genocide? By the way, 78 years since the Nakba. How are we 2.5 years into this genocide and we're still debating whether or not it's a genocide?
So before I start, I want to lay some groundwork. I want to start with a working definition of genocide, some legal and historical examples, and then I want to demonstrate Israel's intent.
Please tell me he lets him define what the genocide is, because the problem is that when you're debating with Zionists, is you can't debate Zionists in good faith. You just can't. You have to debate. You have to play their game, because they play the technically game. They'll take whatever definition that you say it is, even if it's the official definition. He'll take it and he'll say that's not really what it is. It's technically this. And Israel isn't doing this. Israel's doing this. And if you don't believe me, by the way, this is something that's baked into Jewish orthodoxy, by the way. It's not, and I'm not being anti-Semitic saying this. You can see it themselves. They play the technically game all the time with their own, with religion, with God. So an example of this is in Jewish orthodoxy. When a woman is married, she has to cover her hair. Only her husband can see her hair. So the way that they go around this is that they get a wig to wear that looks exactly, or sometimes even better than their own hair, to wear when they go outside. So they're technically covering their hair.
She's getting married and she's going to wear it this way. In Jewish tradition, your hair is considered sacred after you get married. It is becoming an intimate part of you and needs to be covered. A wig feels like the best of both worlds when it comes to covering your hair. You get to participate in the custom while still feeling like yourself.
I do disagree with playing technically like that, but if that's the way you want to live your life, fair enough. But you have to understand that they implement this in everything they do. So if you give him the opportunity to do that to you, you automatically lose the debate, because it doesn't matter if you're right, he managed to play technically with you.
Policies of genocide and then the results. So in terms of a working definition of genocide, it would be to destroy, with the intent to destroy a group in whole or in part. Some historical elite...
Just real quick, that is the official definition by the United Nations. And I guarantee you he will play technically with this. We'll see.
Legal analogies that I think are analogous to the case of Gaza is the case in Bosnia, where the Bosnian Serb army killed 8,000 men and boys. This was ruled to be a genocide by the ICJ. Another 30,000 women and children were forced to flee. This was done so to facilitate an ethnic cleansing. So murder under the laws of war to motivate a population to be ethnically cleansed. In terms of Israel's intent, Benjamin Netanyahu said it plainly and clearly last year under testimony with the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Knesset. He said, we're destroying more and more houses. Sooner or later, they'll have nothing to go back to. Our problem right now is just finding a country that's going to take...
So that's pretty good of Jubilee, actually. They did do a fact check here. In May 2025, Benjamin Netanyahu was reported by Israel media to have told the closed Knesset committee that Israel is destroying more and more houses in Gaza. I'm saying both Arabic and English here. In Gaza, and Palestinians accordingly nowhere to run. Those brackets really threw me off. According to the quotes from the session leaked to the media, he went on to say the only obvious result will be Gazans choosing to emigrate outside of the Strip. Netanyahu continued, but our main problem is finding countries to take them in. Okay, so he So yeah, this guy's good. He knows his stuff,
Palestinian refugees.
and it's kind of good that Jubilee is fact checking it.
Our problem right now is just finding a country that's going to take the Palestinian refugees. So they're murdering Palestinians in Gaza en masse to attempt to bring about the demise of the Gaza population, create conditions unfit for human existence by decimating civilian infrastructure, etc. Now, in terms of a policy,
He's letting him talk.
to the Where's Daddy program.
Why is this guy just emoting in the background? I cannot focus.
Now, in terms of a policy, we can look to the Where's Daddy program that's being used by Israeli intelligence through a Lavender AI system where they spot what they suspect to be low-level Hamas operatives, bomb them when they're at home with their family. So you can't claim Hamas is using Palestinians as human shields when most of what Israel's actually doing is targeting who they suspect to be low-level Hamas operatives when they're with their family. This is backed up by the demographic data. Reuters pointed to the fact that over 1,300 families.
I just realized my camera is blocking the fact check. Hold on, sorry. Let me move that.
Have been wiped out in Gaza. Sometimes as much as 4 generations of Palestinian families are being wiped out. Sometimes as large as 14 members of a Palestinian family is being wiped out. So again, we have policy, and then we look to the effects. 65 doctors wrote in the New York Times in a guest opinion essay, doctors that are observing in Gaza, they're participating, they're volunteering in Gaza. We don't have international journalists in Gaza, so the extent to which our international testimonies are often from these doctors, paramedics, and nurses. What they described.
So let me.
All right. He's gonna pause a minute because he said a lot of information. The thing is, this guy knows what he's talking about. Very clearly structured, well structured. The problem here is, again, and I'm pretty sure that Rudy's going to do this, because if you watch any Zionist debate, and this is why you cannot debate Zionists in good faith, if you watch any Zionist debate, they play the technically game, and he will play technically. He will say something along the lines of, that might be true, where Palestinians are being killed en masse, but it's technically not a genocide, because this and this. We'll see.
Let me answer. You said a lot of things.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
So first of all, I'm against the murder of any individual person living in Gaza. I see Palestinians as my family, as my cousins. If I see another individual who's, let's say, from America or a Palestinian, I will automatically feel more connected to a Palestinian. We have mostly the same ancestry. We're connected to the same land, and our descendants will be eternally connected to one another. So whenever I see a Palestinian innocent life taken, that is a horrible tragedy.
Okay, the only time where his emote actually makes sense here. You're saying it's a tragedy that whenever a Palestinian life is taken, but you're sitting here and you're playing defense for the IDF and Israel carpet bombing and committing a genocide, and saying it's not committing a genocide.
You got something wrong from the very beginning. That genocide is the intent to eliminate a population. Now you might not be successful. So they were not.
Did I call it or not call it? He's playing the technically. It's playing the technically, and Jubilee actually fact checks him here. Under Article 2 of the Convention of the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, genocide is defined as any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnic, or racial or religious group as such, killing members of the group or causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. I mean, I don't know how you could argue that Israel is not committing a genocide under this definition. The problem that I have with Jubilee and this method though here is that this guy doesn't fact check him right then and there. He doesn't go, hold on, pause, Rudy. Actually, according to fact check, this is the definition of a genocide. What you're saying is not. He doesn't do that. I mean, I don't think so.
We're not successful in many cases with Nazi Germany, with the Armenians, but it was.
So like, he's being fact checked here, so the viewers watching can read this and see that he is being fact checked. But the problem is he's still allowed to discuss and say how it's not a genocide, because according to his definition of genocide, it's the intent to eliminate an entire population, which is just not true. That's not factual. Now, if I was the debater on the other side here, you could still salvage this by saying, well, okay, then technically by your definition, the Holocaust was not a genocide. Now, obviously, I do believe it was a genocide. It was an attempt. It was definitely a genocide. The Holocaust was abhorrent. It was a genocide. But according to Rudy's definition, it is not a genocide, right? because how do you prove intent to eliminate an entire population?
The intent to try to eliminate the population. Now,
So can I ask you then?
Let me.
Do you think that the Bosnian Serb army did not commit genocide in Serbia?
I think if the intent was to eliminate the entire population, then
In my opinion, you shouldn't have gone for a Bosnian Serb angle, because you're not making it. You in this case, you need to trip them up on what they're saying. One thing that they will always fall back onto is the Holocaust, because it was a horrible event. It was a horrific event for sure, and they continue to use it to justify their war crimes moving forward. So you have to sort of trip them up on what they're saying. Well, in that case, then how do you prove that Hitler wanted to commit a genocide to the Jewish population, right? Because initially, the Holocaust camps, the concentration camps were labor camps. They were slave labor camps, right? The Jews were being made to work in these camps like they were a harsher form of prison. And then it only started being sort of like a killing camp much later on in the war, where Germany started to lose quite hard, and they were losing land and resources, and they just couldn't afford to continue these slave labor camps. So basically, by decommissioning these camps, they were killing the Jews in these camps. So how do you say or show that Nazi Germany did commit a genocide when you can't prove that intent? We obviously know that the Holocaust is a genocide. We know that because the intent to destroy in whole or in part, it caused bodily harm, and they caused mental harm as well. And it's such a horrific event that left a generational trauma. Similarly, what's happening in Gaza right now. In Gaza, the systematic carpet bombing, targeting of safe areas that were designated safe zones, making Palestinians leave their homes, destroying infrastructure, hospitals, electricity, cutting off water, cutting off food, cutting off any medical aid. While you may not be killing them directly with the bombs you're throwing at them, you are killing them off by making sure that anything they have, the necessities they need to survive, is not available to them. So you are still killing them, right? That is the committing of a genocide. That's how you have to draw the parallels between the two, because they won't understand unless you draw those two parallels together, okay? Because by Rudy's definition of here, like I said, the Holocaust was not a genocide.
It would be a genocide if the intent is to kill a lot of people in order to do ethnic cleansing, which is another thing, which is also problematic. Okay,
but you're saying it's ethnic cleansing, not genocide.
No, I'm not saying what's going on is ethnic cleansing. I'm saying that there
so
are individual politicians.
I like this guy
who supports the idea of removing Palestinians.
I'm not talking about individual politicians. I'm talking about Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister.
Ethnic cleansing, and I'm against that.
And you agree that the quote I cited earlier would be the intent for ethnic cleansing, right?
The way that you sourced it would be, but I don't think that that's actually what he said.
That's from Times of Israel.
We should fact check it and see the whole entire context.
Okay, yeah,
if we
fact check it.
So fact check it. So fact check it and show it, because he's still allowed to spew this garbage. Like, I don't understand how you can say, oh, if Benjamin is it's the words of one politician. No, it's the actions of the state. Israeli Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant made the statement October 9th, 2023, while announcing a complete siege on the Gaza Strip. He said, "We are fighting human animals, and we act accordingly." He was saying this in justifying cutting off their electricity, cutting off their water supply, cutting off aid. That's what he was saying. I'm sorry, but it's not the words of one politician. It's the actions of an entire state. The people of Israel came out and protested a right to rape Palestinian prisoners. Can we please just stop with being so disingenuous about, oh, it's just Benjamin Netanyahu. No, it's not. It's the entire state, right? If it wasn't the entire state, IDF soldiers wouldn't be taking photos wearing the Palestinian women's lingerie. They wouldn't be making videos about them bombing houses in Palestine, in Gaza. They wouldn't be making a mockery out of this. The people in Israel that we've seen videos, and I'll find them and I'll put them in edit, hopefully as a B-roll here, where people in Israel were mocking the people dying in Palestine. So don't sit there and tell me it's the words of one minister, right? It isn't the words of one minister. It's or prime minister. It's the actions of the entire colonial state. And the fact that he's able to sit there and say this and nobody can challenge it is why I genuinely don't think people should be debating Zionists, because this isn't a debate. This is just let me spew my bullshit while stealing Palestinian identity even more, bro. It's disgusting.
If we find
Times
that,
of Israel,
if we
Benjamin
find that,
Netanyahu
if
quote,
we find that Bibi Netanyahu has the intent to remove all the Palestinians from Gaza, I am against it.
and you would say that
Now
that's
let's
ethnic
have- that
cleansing.
No one's asking if you're against it or if it's ethnic cleansing. We're saying it's a genocide.
be ethnic cleansing.
Okay,
absolutely.
great.
So
So
now,
we
now
can
that,
source
now
that.
that we're
Amazing.
now that
And you
we're
can concede
agreeing
that
that
point. Perfect.
there's a difference between ethnic cleansing and genocide, and that I'm against both.
Just real quick, ethnic cleansing is a precursor to genocide. You can't perform a genocide without performing ethnic cleansing. What are we arguing here? What are we talking about? If you're against both, good for you. I'm happy for you. But that doesn't mean that Israel isn't committing it.
Let's talk about the claim of it being genocide. Now, when we look at 2.2 million people living in Gaza, and max number is 70,000 by Hamas records, which we know Hamas is constantly lying of how many people are dying. For
But the Gaza Health Ministry has been accurate about their numbers. And if anything, the reported numbers of their deaths have been greatly under exaggerated. Is that a word? Is it under exaggerated? Because the whole fact is Israel has debilitated the medical system there. So they can't accurately report how many deaths there are. The deaths are actually more than 75,000. If Hamas always lies, why is Israel not allowing independent journalists into Gaza? Allow independent journalists into Gaza to accurately report it if you think Hamas is always lying. But the one thing that the whole world, including Israel, to be honest, agrees on is that the Gaza Health Ministry has always been accurate. So again, and this fact check is kind of interesting. That does not break down deaths by specific cause and does not separate classified combatants from civilians. What, those 72,000 deaths or 75,000 deaths were all combatants? Come on, man. We've all seen the clips. We've all seen the death and destruction. We've seen civilians being bombed. I mean, Rafah. We saw the bomb. We saw the tents in Rafah being bombed. The last bastion, or the last place where Palestinians were told they'd be safe, they had bombs dropped on their tents. You're like, come on, Jubilee.
70,000 people to have died. Also, this is in the past 2 years. There are 5,000 people who are dying from natural causes every year, which is also included.
That's not included.
Hamas number.
The
Hamas
natural causes are not included. That's false. If
Hamas
natural causes
militants-
were included,
Hamas
you would
militants
see
are
excess
also-
death among youth and among
Hamas-
elderly. You
Hamas-
don't see that with the
Oh,
demographic
well
data.
done.
The demographic
Well
data
done.
is actually directly from
Hamas.
Israeli airstrikes.
No, it's directly from Hamas.
It's the
From
Gaza Ministry of
Hamas.
Health, which has been reliable.
which is
in-
Hamas.
Okay, so they've been
an
reliable in every other
organization
armed
that
conflict.
seeks to kill civilians is giving you your
Let me
information.
ask you this: Why
Hold up,
doesn't
hold
the
up. I let
Israeli
you- I let you
military, if
finish.
the
I let
Israeli
you finish.
military was
I let you
operating under the
finish.
laws
We
of war,
look
they would
at-
know how many
we look at
Palestinian civilians have
2.2
died. Why don't
million
they
people
pause,
being killed? Only 70,000
Hey,
to the
pause.
max
Rudy,
number.
pause.
That is a small amount of people and
Hey,
very
Rudy.
clearly not a genocide.
Rudy, we've got flags up. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
I don't know why he was voted out. This guy was doing really well.
I wanted to believe that you really wanted peace. For a moment, I really almost believed that you wanted the Palestinians to go back to Palestine. But then when you ridiculed and you belittled 70,000 deaths, and you're saying that's just a small percentage for 1.2 million, that is outrageous.
That is not what I said.
That's perfect. It is outrageous, and it is what you said. You said it's a small percentage. You said 70,000 people, which is a lie or reported by a lie by Hamas, is a small percentage of 2.2 million, I think he said. It's 70,000 people. You initially started saying that any Palestinian death hurts you, and then you said it's 70,000 as a small percentage and doesn't constitute a genocide. Hello, it's in part and whole. It's in part and whole. And the rest of the people that are living, by the way, in Gaza have generational trauma. You have destroyed them mentally. They reach level 5 starvation, I believe, just recently, where that means that basically, even if they start eating, they'll never recover. Their bodies will never recover. And it is affected their DNA moving forward. So any kids that they continue to have will be affected.
That's what I've heard you saying.
No, what I said is it's not a genocide, because if it was a genocide, we'd see the intent and the
If-
actual murder of a lot of people. And I started
of
I started with one person dying. That's Palestinian is horrible. Okay? So remember everything that I said. Palestinians
will-
are my family. If any Palestinian dies, that's horrible.
See,
but if we're
what
talking
what
about
we are
intent,
seeing
it's
right now,
different.
what we're seeing right now is, and I hope I'm wrong, is a great act Sadly, we've seen the president and Benjamin Netanyahu going out and saying we have to buy social media, we have to influence influencers, we have to work on the young Americans and young Westerners so we can win the battle of the public opinion. Unfortunately, that's what I'm seeing right now. You having this soft attitude while serving in the Israeli army while people were getting.
Wait, hold on a second. This guy served in the IDF? Wait a minute. This guy served in the IDF and he's saying one Palestinian death hurts him?
I'm a Palestinian. I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm a Semite. I'm not anti-Jewish. I have so many Jewish friends. But as long as it's legal, I'm going to go out and say every day I'm anti-Zionism because I'm anti-apartheid, anti-genocide, anti-ethnic cleansing. You know, the people here are labeled today as pro-Palestinians, as if it's something it's given. We're not just pro-Palestinians because Palestinians, we're pro-equality, justice, we're anti-racism. If Jewish people are going through the same, we will be pro-Jewish people as well. Trust me.
Fun fact, they were, when the Jews were getting ethnically cleansed, the only country that accepted them was Palestine. The Palestinians actually accepted them. If you read through Zionists' like diaries, you'll see that they're filled with how warm and hospitable Palestinians were before they then decided to kick them out and steal their homes and lands.
So do you condemn the attacks of Jews all around the world, including by Palestinians?
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Any innocent
Amazing.
person that's been attacked without a justified reason, my faith tells me I
What
have
is a
to condemn
justified
it.
reason?
Oh, stop this, Puff. Why are we putting... Hold on a second. Why did he just allow him to switch the narrative? Ugh, this guy seems like a great person, but I'm not talking about Rudy, by the way. Rudy's a piece of shit. I can see what he's doing. It's disgusting. I can see what he's doing. He's putting on this act of, oh, I'm peaceful and I'm loving and I love the Palestinians or whatever. It's like shut up. You just said 70,000 deaths was a small percentage. Why is he allowing him to flip the narrative of what is a justified reason?
They're not trying to kill you. If they're not trying to fight you.
If a Palestinian commits blows up a bus, is that justified?
You cannot put this
I'm just
out of
asking
context.
because you said
Absolutely.
justified.
No, when I say when
If it's a bus full of children, then no, obviously not. But if it's a bus full of soldiers on their way to perform a raid in Gaza, then yes.
you served in the army.
Yeah, but can you answer that real quick?
Absolutely, I can answer that.
Can you condemn that?
Absolutely, I'm telling you, I condemn the killing of any innocent soul. That's my faith is telling me to do.
Thank you.
All right. So now, when you are trying to say that I am trying to promote peace and justice, why don't you join a movement like Breaking the Silence? Have you heard about them?
Of course I heard about that.
So why don't you
Great.
join them? Please.
So
look at
Breaking the Silence is
For those of you who don't know, Breaking the Silence is basically ex-Israeli military. Anyone who served in the Israeli military, even I don't think they have to serve in the Israeli military, but anyone who served in the Israeli military and wants to shed a light on the atrocities that Zionists commit to Palestinians, they shine a light on it. A lot of what we know about what Zionists do to the Palestinians there has actually been because of this organization, this Breaking the Silence. And they do this at very, very massive risk of their own lives.
so Breaking the Silence is an organization that takes some truths, adds on a lot of lies, and does everything in order to be tokens as Jews and as former soldiers who get paid by foreign entities.
Oh my God, this is so pathetic. So hold on. So from your perspective, Israeli Defense Force soldiers or ex-soldiers who gain absolutely nothing by exposing the atrocities that are committed in the Israeli army, do it so that they can be tokens? So they gain nothing, they lose everything, and they do it so that they can be tokens?
Well, there's a new movement of people who aren't the tokens on either side. There's individual Palestinians who are tokens as well, who will sell whatever the Israeli government wants. Of individuals who are proud
But
and who are
there's a big
strong
difference
and who
here.
want to see a
Listen,
future where there are people
there's a
coming
big difference.
together. You said
Rudy,
you're not an
there's a big
anti-Semite,
difference
but you're an
between-
anti-Zionist. But does that mean that you're against the idea that people have a right to live in this land?
Jewish people were living in the land of Palestine well before Zionism, well before Israel was founded. Jewish people were living side by side with Arabs and Christians and even atheist Palestinians. They were living in a Palestinian government. So no, we don't have anything against Jewish people living in Palestine. What we do have is the emergence of an ethno-state in Palestine governed by Zionists who want to eradicate non-Jewish people on the land. That is what we're against.
I'm against the idea of what Zionism is doing.
No,
what
so Zionism is an
listen,
idea.
who else?
I'm asking, are you against the idea that the Jewish people have a right to self-determine on their ancestral homeland?
I don't. You know who else did not have
Can you
that
answer
problem?
that?
I don't. I just told you.
Okay,
You know
great,
who
so
else?
you're not an anti-Zionist.
You know
you're
who
an
else?
anti the current conflict and everything that happened.
You know who else did not have a problem with Jewish people coming to Palestine?
A lot of Palestinians.
A lot of Palestinians.
There we
they
go.
opened their doors.
And I don't
they
have a
opened their
problem with
homes.
Palestinians
Look
being
it
able
up.
to come home.
Muhammad Hadi, the father of Bella and Gigi Hadid. What is his story? His family opened their doors, their homes
Sure.
for a Jewish family,
Sure.
only to come back and say, you know what? This is our house now. You cannot come back again.
You won't see me condemn.
This happens a lot. This happens so much, dude. There's this video that kept circling around often about this Palestinian woman who was basically standing outside her own home, and she was talking to the Israeli invader, and she was saying, "You can't just take my home." And he goes, "Well, if I don't steal it, someone else will steal it." It's insane how you can come home one day after having hosted someone who was fleeing fleeing persecution, and you come home one day and they've kicked you out of your own house. This is my home now. It's something that I don't think anyone can actually like mentally understand. The frustration, the anger that you would be feeling at the time. You know, imagine coming home where you feel is safe, where you've got your kids with you, and you've got this invader who's telling you it's mine now, and then they point guns at you if you don't leave.
Palestinians as a whole, you won't see me trying to delegitimize or to demonize Palestinians.
You keep calling it Yehuda and Samaria. You don't even call it Palestine.
Historically, that region is Judea
the way
and Samaria.
Palestinians were kicked out of their homes, the way a genocide,
and Jews were kicked out.
the way a genocide happened in Deir Yassin. Do you know what Deir Yassin is?
Yes, of course I know.
You know what happened in Deir Yassin?
I know
That's a genocide.
A genocide would be the intent, okay, for a population to eliminate another
That's what
population.
happened.
Someone please ask him, how do you prove intent? Please, someone needs to ask him, how do you prove intent? And then let him give his own definition, hold him to that definition, and play his game, and show him how that definition fits. Because it doesn't matter how much you start playing with the definition of genocide, what Israel is doing will fit any definition that you give of genocide.
You had in 1948
Rudy,
is a
we wanna
conflict
hear-
between two peoples where people got kicked out on both sides,
Rudy,
and I'm
we-
against that.
People get kicked. Who got kicked out on both sides? Oh my God, is he trying to say that Jews were kicked out in 1948? Kicked out of what?
I just want to hear from him.
Of course.
So you know the problem with the claim that Palestinians left by themselves, they fled.
I didn't make that claim.
That's ridiculous
I
when
didn't make
people
that
say
claim.
that. You know
True,
what?
he
The
didn't
government
make
that
that
you're
claim, yeah.
supporting, the
I'm not
army that you're
supporting the government.
defending, that is what they're saying. They're saying Palestinians left by themselves.
Some people say that. Some people don't say that.
Believe me, that a lot of people are saying
Yeah.
that.
We need to be on point here. Stay on point. I understand. The thing is, I completely understand where he's coming from. He's coming from emotionally. This is a Palestinian who's probably lost his home in Palestine and has to live abroad and wants to return to his home. And it's the same. It's the same with a lot of these people. They're coming in charged with emotion, and he's trying to show him all of that emotion, how he's feeling. And the problem with that is, this guy's a piece of shit who doesn't care, right? I see this emotion and I understand, and it breaks my heart to see this guy who clearly is Palestinian, wants to return to his home, and is devastated by the atrocities committed against his people. This guy doesn't give a shit. So when we're going into these debates, you need to go into it facts only and try to remove emotion, because Zionists don't care. They have no emotion, right? They are dead behind those eyes, because you have to be dead behind those eyes to be able to see the death and destruction that Israel has committed against the Palestinians in Gaza, and to say it's justified, or it's not genocide, or it isn't what it is. You have to be. You can't have any form of empathy and be able to look at the atrocities committed and say it's nothing.
There are Palestinians who chose to leave, and there are many Palestinians that were forcibly displaced. There's more nuance we need to add to the conversation, but there are also
So hold on. You said that you didn't claim that Palestinians chose to leave, and now you're saying that there are Palestinians that chose to leave? There isn't a single Palestinian that did not choose to leave that wasn't under the threat of violence. Like, how are we downplaying the Nakba? They didn't. It's not like they just decided one day, oh, I'm just gonna get up and leave.
Many Jewish villages that were displaced as well.
That's not what happened.
That is what happened.
Yeah, they were Jewish Palestinians. They were Jewish Palestinians who were seen by the Ashkenazis as an inferior because they weren't white.
Why were there no more Jews in Jerusalem or in
the
Hebron?
Argon? These are the militias, the terrorist militias that killed so many Palestinians. Those need to be read what happened in Deir Yassin.
Yes, I know what happened in Deir Yassin, and I know what happened in many other communities of Palestinians, and I'm for Palestinians to be able to reunite with Israel. But you're looking at individuals that are in the context of a war and then blaming it on the whole idea of our whole collective having rights to this land.
The thing is that you cannot just, if Trump says, I'm not anti-immigrants, we don't believe him. We look at what happened in the streets.
Let's not bring Trump into the situation. It has nothing to do.
You have to look at what's happening on the ground. You have to look at what's happening in Gaza.
He's bringing parallels. He's bringing parallels. He's not bringing in Trump. He's just showing you a parallel.
Our civilization is why we're in a problem.
Saying that Gazans were given warning to leave their homes before they get bombed.
This is true.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've heard.
Well, I was in Gaza and I saw this happening with my own eyes.
I'm just shocked that you're defending that again and again.
It's not defending. It's actually what happened. Does that mean
what you're saying? It's okay?
No, it's not okay that we were in war. But
no, it's okay to say to someone, hey, I'm bombing your house tomorrow. Get out of here.
So let's add some context. If Hamas is shooting rockets from a house, that also Palestinian families are living there. That's not propaganda. This is you saying.
Can we be real for a second? Can we be real for a second? I'm not going to show in the editing the B-roll footage of the carpet bombing that happened. Hamas was in every single one of those buildings. Every single Palestinian home. Hamas was in those buildings. Can we be real for a second?
Propaganda to things I witnessed with my own eyes. Before I witnessed it, I saw proof. Now I witnessed it. You cannot tell me it's propaganda because you were not there during the war in Gaza. And inshallah, one day we will both be able to go back in Gaza. But during the war, you were not there. This is what happened. When Hamas is shooting rockets from a house onto Israeli civilians, and Israel warns the Palestinians living there to leave.
The war did not start in
I don't think it started on October 7th.
75 years old.
And it didn't start in 1948 either.
Like you're pushing Palestinians. The fact that you're pushing Palestinians.
Anybody.
Not you. I'm not about myself. I'm representing Palestine. You're representing Israel.
We represent those peoples, but don't say you. You can say they are or Israel is. If something bad is happening by a Palestinian,
I'm defending a movement.
Yeah. What are you doing? You're coming here and saying I'm defending a movement, but you can't say you.
I'm defending an ideology, and then
if you are for the Palestinians, I'm not seeing you as Hamas. Okay, I'm seeing you as a doctor in front of me, as my cousin in front of me that has a connection to this land, and we need to be able to build together moving forward.
I would love to believe this, but the reality doesn't give me a chance to believe what's happening.
Well, the younger generation has still hearts that's not so darkened, and we will be able to build something better.
Okay, we have to pause here. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return.
I want to talk about your claim, which is that Israel's not committing a genocide in Gaza.
Thank you.
Earlier during one of the previous debaters, you said that the definition of genocide was to eliminate a population. Is that still your definition?
Correct.
Okay, so you recognize that that is not the definition of genocide.
That is mostly the definition of genocide.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you want to know what the full definition of genocide is?
And you're going to say intent, right?
Yeah, of course, that's part of it. But that's not the qualm I have. It's the intent to destroy a population in whole or in part. Okay, so you use the evidence of Israel not killing more Palestinians as evidence that it's not a genocide. But the Germans didn't kill every Jewish person. You agree that there was genocide against Jewish people in Nazi Germany,
The intent of Israel was not to kill in parts the Palestinians either. That is why it's not a genocide, not in whole or in part.
And
every action that Israel does is to prevent civilian casualties from being killed.
How do you adjudicate whether a government intends to eliminate in part or in whole a population?
Yes, I like this guy.
So if every time that there's an attack against a Hamas site, not against a civilian area that doesn't have Hamas, but specifically a Hamas site that is shooting rockets onto Israeli civilians, and Israel does everything to warn the population there to leave by phone calls, by text messages.
What do you mean a Hamas site? They carpet bombed the entire region. What are you talking about? What is this clown talking about?
By leaflets, sometimes sent 72 hours before, we can see the intent here is to minimize civilian casualties.
And just to be clear,
so this is
no, the intent is to force these people out of the homes, destroy the infrastructure, and either directly or non-directly kill them. As Netanyahu said to the Knesset, the only issue now is that we can't find anywhere for people to take them. Right? The intent is to push them out of their homes. The intent is to destroy any chance of them being able to live on this land. That is a genocide.
Example of what Israel does in order to have civilians die at large or as parts.
I understand. Just to be clear, the reason you're saying that is because if they didn't do this, which by the way, this is it's actually a funny standard that you give to Israel, that if they drop leaflets before bombing somebody, that they are proactive and that they're trying to save civilian life. That's actually required by international law. So it's the bare minimum.
And
I just want to make clear. I just want to make
warning
clear.
people before
if
attacking.
they didn't do that, you would say that, well, clearly that's intent to kill civilians, right?
Not necessarily, but
okay.
it's,
So wait.
No, hold on.
Then why
let me
are you?
answer.
I love it.
There's a firefight, okay, and in the moment,
dude, I love it. He plays technically so much, it's crazy. It's like it's a technically game. It's a technically game. It doesn't matter what. If you can see how much of a clown he is with everyone laughing at him, because it is just a technically game.
There's no ability to send leaflets or warning, and people get killed in the process. Then there are situations where not warning doesn't make it a genocide.
Firefight?
So here's an example when certain situations. I know that you're college and you're on the media and everything else, but I actually went to war. So there's certain situations that develop live where Hamas pops out of nowhere, starts shooting at IDF soldiers. There's a gunfight. There are people.
So we call an airstrike to carpet bomb the entire region. What are you talking about? We're not talking about firefights. We're talking about the carpet bombing.
Who are civilians who are killed, and that is not a genocide because they didn't warn. That's why not warning doesn't make it a genocide either. If the intent is to kill people, then it is a genocide.
I'm assuming that you're talking about when safe zones are bombed, when refugee camps are bombed, leaflets are dropped.
Safe zones were safe before Hamas entered, and then they're no longer safe, correct?
Wait, which shows that Israel's not trying to commit a genocide, right? If you made that point that Israel is dropping leaflets, which shows that they're not intending to commit a genocide. Supposedly, if they didn't drop leaflets, that would be showing intent to commit a genocide.
False. I just explained why that's the case. There are situations that happen live.
Then your point. This is. I don't know how well versed you are in debate. That's called a fallacy of infallibility. If your position cannot be proven wrong, then it is an illegitimate argument to make.
I've proven how. Let me finish that point. No, because this is important. And I'm going to respond. If Israel does everything that it can to prevent civilian casualties, that is a proof that shows that his intention is not to kill Palestinian civilians. Do Palestinian civilians get killed?
I'm going to give you an example.
No, I'm going to finish my point now.
No, you want to finish your point.
Of course,
you
I'm going to finish my point
because you've interrupted me and you don't want me to say
your claim, and now I'm going to.
Do you want to hear Al Mawasi as an example of a refugee camp being bombed without leaflets being dropped? By your own standards. By your own standards.
By the world standards. By the world standards, they're not.
That's frustrating as heck. They got this guy was really good, and they said he was out of time. This is frustrating. First of all, the host didn't do anything to mediate the fact that Rudy kept interrupting this guy and not letting him give him the examples. Your debate method is by making sure that your position cannot lose. He kept changing his position, moving the goalposts, playing the technically game so that no matter what happened, his definition could not lose. And you know what? Everyone saw that for what it was. Everyone was laughing at him because you're a clown, Rudy. You're a clown. No matter how many times you want to say that you care about Palestinian lives or this, that, and the third, you've done nothing but say that Israel has done everything to protect and conserve Palestinian lives. Shut up. Anyway, that is my reaction to this Israel is not committing a genocide. The next claim is anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. I would like to maybe make a video on that. Let me know in the comments if you like this video, if you enjoyed this video and want to see my analysis of that